Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
In my association with Project Blue, they definitely withheld information.
The whole fleet of them, look on the ASA. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, welcome back to Total Disclosure. My name's Ty. I'm the host of the show, and we're here tonight with one of my favorite guests, and he was actually one of my first guests here on Total Disclosure, Kaleb Bench, who is a part of the show. Secret. God, here we go already. So I'm coming off of COVID, so please bear with me. I decided to do this live, but I'm gonna Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, Kaleb Bench, and he's just a great guy. We're gonna get some insight from him, what to expect from this season. Season 5, history's I believe #1 show, if not #2 show. And with their new spinoff, Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, there's just so much content that the boys are kicking around. So we're gonna get Kaleb in here just now, and we'll be talking to him. Today's show is brought to you by Adentia Herbals, BioMind. So we'll be playing that clip a little bit later. For now, let's welcome Mr. Kaleb Bench. How we doing, brother?
Good. How are you doing, Ty?
I'm doing. I'm doing. I sometimes these. So right after Thursday night, I recorded my interview with Grant Levac, and I went to bed, and then I started waking up every hour on the hour, and it I was waking up in apocalypses, and yeah, it was the weirdest thing too. It was a fresh new horror each time I went to bed, and then as I woke up each time, I could feel something was not right. Something wasn't right. Not, and I have Crohn's, so I'm very used to pain. Pain. Anyone with a stomach disorder will tell you that. Stomach discomfort, stomach pain is it takes the cake. And man, I couldn't even move. I stood up Friday morning. I fell over, and the dog had to come over to me. It was terrible. It was. I don't recommend it to anybody. 9 out of 10 dentists do not recommend COVID. So don't get it, guys. It was terrible. And I'm still hazy. But let's not waste too much time. You've been busy over this past summer with filming, obviously, the new season. Overall, how'd things go? A lot of people have a lot of expectations because it's where can you go from here kind of thing. And I guess there's one question I can't wait to get to, but I think there's something lingering, and that we hope, and I can't wait to talk about that with you. So you haven't made any discoveries of alien technology in the Mesa formally, so I'm assuming no UFOs were found on the property.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
I can say that, but we did find some really interesting stuff. So the search continues and will continue this year, to the best of my knowledge at this time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're
so
really
that's what I
excited.
mean.
Yeah,
Up
we're really
up until
excited.
season 4, I think a lot of so the build, so the building up towards or build from season 4 at least onward is what's going on inside the Mesa.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people want to know, like, are we going to get closer to answering that question this year? So I didn't mean that like you didn't do it yet, but that's what's on a lot of people's mind, and I think the series it looked, you guys have the nameplate each year. This one has the Mesa on it, I believe. So
I
it seems
think
that the
so.
series is aiming at the Mesa a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of focus on the Mesa. I can tell you spent a lot of time filming season 5 in regards to what's going on in the Mesa, and we had some really crazy stuff happen in regards to drilling itself and some surrounding activity as well. Because we're not
Oh,
just when we're drilling,
yeah.
we're not just waiting for the drill, right? Which we do that a lot, but we're going, okay, what else can we fill our time with? And so we're trying to do some other stuff, and we came up with some pretty interesting ideas. So and I will say, kind of a little teaser, that one of the things that actually made me a little bit more creeped out, or actually like took a little step back, thinking about stuff happened when we were drilling. Um,
Really?
so yeah, it was something that really made me go, oh, kind of go, oh, geez, yeah, that was crazy. That was if it's what we think it was, it was dangerous, and um, I've been told they're going to show that situation, and and I actually have a something that happened to me a couple years ago that I think is very similar to. So, and when that comes out, I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more. But
Yeah.
it was,
Well, so
and
it sounds. I mean, I just deducing. I think I can not. I mean, not that I think I'm a wizard or anything, but I think I might know the track that you're talking about, and um, if yeah, so there's just a lot of mystery that
Mhm,
that Mesa holds, and I think
yeah,
even since episode 1, I remember Brandon showing Travis the clip in the office in the Salt Lake City office of the light over the Mesa. That's still
hmm
one of my favorite sightings, UFO sightings, um,
hmm
that's documented because
yeah,
just because the way it looks, the way it comes over the Mesa, like it's eerie. And those kind of things continue to happen over that Mesa. And the naysayers will say nay, but
yeah.
you guys have been out there. To date, how many UFO sightings have you had either on or off camera?
Oh, a lot. You're gonna see some new ones, obviously, this next upcoming season.
Obviously, is it that obvious at this point?
Yeah,
Jeez.
you're with some of the stuff. I think it's at this point it's so hard to refute. I think, and I was actually going through some photos on my phone, um, and I don't even know if they're going to show this one. So I'm excited because it's just one of those things that we've kind of talked about over the last couple of years as a team. Is there's so much um, going on a lot of times when they're filming, and like we forget a bunch of the surrounding stuff. And so like a personal project that I've been doing to try and show that is I've been working on a book, and it's kind of like a journal, if you will, is kind of how I'm doing this, where it's just like, this happened, say 2018, and then I was on the ranch first 2017. Halloween was my first day,
Mhm.
right? And so, and I'm kind of going from there and just trying to go through and put things in order, as best as I can remember. And I got a bunch of photos and I've got a bunch of videos and stuff that kind of do that. And what I'm trying to do is like show, this all these things in chronological order is in like a journal. Um, might sound like a police report a little bit too, just because that's how I'm so used to typing things now.
Right.
Um, but it's just one of those things. So like, and that's kind of coming back to the um,
Mhm.
this example of something that happens in season 5 when we're out drilling. It was
Was it
broad daylight when this thing happened,
was it
and
okay, can I ask you this? Like,
yeah,
I won't go we won't I'm not trying to get you in trouble with History
no, yeah,
Channel.
yeah.
Um, but was it a moment like, let's say let's say from 0 to 10 is, um, something 0 is so mundane, lights in the distance to like a shatter of reality to 10. Um, where were
Well,
you on this scale?
there's potentially some of that.
So
Um,
there might be a 10 there?
I think so. There's still some stuff we're trying to wrap our heads around
Oh
that we
my
caught, and we didn't
god.
just have one thing. It was multiple things.
So
Um,
this is an event that happened to multiple people, not just
well,
you.
so this event that I'm referencing to while we were drilling, um, it was broad daylight, and it's pretty damn hard to refute anything that happened there.
Okay.
I saw this myself. Again, this is broad daylight, um, and it was something physical is what is all I can say at this point. But this is the thing is one of the pieces that you see that I'm sure if they got up and close and personal on this stuff, I think it's something that I experienced personally a couple of years ago, and I don't want to give too much away there, but essentially it was one of the injuries that I've had out there.
Mm, yeah.
And so, but when this was broad daylight, and I don't know how much of it they're going to show because again there was so much stuff going on, and when we finally kind of realized, oh, this was something serious, like there were all these other things that happened. So it's pretty, yeah, and that was just one thing, and uh, yeah, it's just this whole next season is gonna blow people's minds away, um, and then kind of coming back why I'm working on the project that I'm doing. I've been debating on do I wait till season 5 comes out and then go through and talk more about some of that stuff, or do I just go up to like
I'd go to season 5.
right and
I if you're saying that it's this much of a game changer, and if you truly feel that way, then I would wait, because, of course, the show doesn't seem to be slowing down in any of its efforts. So
no,
you'll always have that same excuse in your head,
yeah.
oh, should I wait? Should I wait? Should I wait? Should I wait? So I'd say season 5 might be a good point to say, let's do
Well,
this.
yeah, no, and that's my thought is I've been out there now 6, 7 years, and I feel like after this time period, I've had so many experiences off camera, on camera. Some pretty disturbing ones are off camera. So all I
Yeah,
have is testimony of it.
and
Um,
that's I was gonna say that another thing that you and I've talked about is a lot of the stuff that you've done that you is off camera just because something else is going on or this or
yeah.
that, or it was just wrong time, wrong place.
Hmm.
And it's like, guys, remember, we're there for this many hours, but we're only rolling for this many. Like, things go on all day.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
you
and
you don't catch everything.
no. So like, I'll give you an example. This just happened to me a couple weeks ago on the ranch. Eric and I were the only two on the property at that time. It was still kind of cold out here, January, February timeframe. It's been a lighter winter though, so it hasn't been too terrible.
Mm.
But still, it's just me and Eric. And I go out and I take my computer. I take a bunch of stuff with me because when I'm out on the ranch, I do a bunch of different stuff. There's some other personal projects that I work on and things like that when I'm in lieu to doing like security stuff out there. But essentially, I walk into Homestead One where I'm going to have my security office at this point, and I set my computer down. I set all my stuff down, and I go back out to my truck to grab some water or something. And I walk back in, and I'd set my computer. I have like a laptop fan thing that I set my computer on top of
Mm-hmm.
to just help it keep cool, kind of thing.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I just set everything there on the table. I hadn't plugged it in or anything like that. And I walk in, and my laptop's open and it's on. And so I'm like, this is one of the things that we describe to all the time. Like, things move. Stuff like
Open
this
up.
happens where we're like, did I like open that before I walked out?
Yeah.
But
So there was that other story about the glasses, right?
yeah,
Where the
so it's
the glass.
same exact thing. Like I lost my sunglasses, and then 3 days later I'm walking in and they're sitting on the steps walking in.
That you've walked past 900 times and knew
Yeah,
that they weren't there.
yeah, and like,
So,
and it wasn't just me that walked by there. Someone would have picked them up,
right. It's
and
just,
yeah,
it's so funny.
and they
The
were pristine, right? And so I'm sitting here going, oh, okay, you gotta be kidding me. And then um, I want to say that was actually in conjunction to something that Eric experienced um, within a couple days or something like that, like a day or two. And he was actually having an interaction with some of the insiders talking about that specific type of phenomena that we experience. Yeah, it was so the night before that happened, Eric was talking with a bunch of the insiders on our website about there's one of the stories way back in the Sherman days where the wife is experiencing this type of stuff in the same building that this happened with my laptop, by the way, where she's bringing in like groceries and she's putting them away, and then she walks out, then walks back in, and all the groceries are back in the bags, type of thing. And she's going, "What is going
That's
on? Like, am I
right.
losing my mind?" Right? And then what happens, and the story that Eric was relating to the insiders was where the farmer's out or the rancher and he's fixing fence, and he's got one of these mechanical post hole diggers. So this thing's like 75 pounds. And he sets it down someplace and goes to fix some other fence or do something, and then comes back and the post hole digger's gone, or the post hole pounder. I can't remember which exactly. But he then comes in and he's mad. He's like, okay, who moved it? His at that time he had a nephew living there, and I think one of his own kids or something. But essentially, all these people are sitting around the dinner table that night, and he comes in and the rancher's mad. He's like, I'm trying to get work done, and who's moving my stuff? And
Right.
everyone's like, no. And this actually prompts the wife to go, you're not the only one experiencing this kind of stuff. And he's like, these are at that time, salt of the earth people. They're just trying to make a living and work in their ranch, right? So they've been kind of putting stuff outside their mind, like, no, whatever. But essentially, like a couple days later, he finds this piece of equipment like up in a tree. And I'm not talking like a little 20-foot tree. It's these giant cottonwoods that we have out here on the ranch. These things are
Mm-hmm.
40, 50, 60 feet tall. So it's, and then kind of come back to what I experienced with my laptop. And like Eric was talking about that kind of thing like the night before with the insiders. And so it was just one of those things, like that kind of thing
It's a
happened.
synchronicity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the synchronicities is a great word for it. And it's actually been one of those things that we've talked to about as a team, and that's again why we're doing the website, to be able to
Mhm.
talk about this and give more of that full picture to everybody.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then another, and that's again why I'm working on that on my book, I guess, because there's so much stuff that now it's like put yourself in the position of if you experience something and you never know if you're going to experience it again. Sometimes it takes weeks or months or at this point sometimes years for some of this to come together, and that's where I've been really excited because there's going to be some stuff you guys see in season 5 that for me was very personal because I experienced something like 2018, and all I have is a story at this point. But now some of the stuff that we're going to be showing is actually, I think, evidence that ties back to some of that stuff.
Oh, well, I really look forward to uh diving into that and what
Yeah,
that is when it comes out, of course.
yeah, and
Um,
and and that again comes back to this one thing that I'm thinking of in
right.
regards to drilling. That personally, that happened to me too. So I think they're connected that way.
Well, so how much drilling did you guys do this year? I mean,
Oh, a
was
lot.
there but so was it one project that was spread out throughout the whole season, or was it multiple de- s- various site site starts points? I'm sorry, I'm too many
No, you're
alliteration
fine.
here. Um,
Um,
where was it that kind of thing? Because I think people want to know if uh, you guys really focused on it, or
mhm.
are you guys kind of still trying to figure out where you want to go in from, and how is it going to be feasible? Are you drilling sideways now rather than in?
So I'm not going to go too in depth on some of that stuff, but
That's okay.
I'll say what I will say multiple locations. We did explore multiple locations. Um, we're still trying to, like what we said in season 4, we're still trying to do uh, a precision search right now. So it's not like we're doing crazy excavation or anything like that. But I will say at the drill site, it was pretty intensive, and we were there for quite some time.
And
And you're going to see a lot of that.
have you guys? Why haven't you? Why I've been dying to ask this. Um, that there's some sort of a cave system on the ranch. Why have you? So, is there a reason you guys haven't explored it more on the show?
The cave system.
The Yeah, so they brought Carl the Crusher into it.
Okay, so that's actually something that we're still trying to confirm at this point.
Oh,
Is
okay.
we've gotten some information, and we do have some evidence that show potential cave systems, right?
So it's still
But
still hypothetical.
yeah, so technically it's still hypothetical at this point. But that's again why we're doing some of these exercises more in depth that what you're going to see this upcoming year too.
I was gonna say, because who knows where those lead, and if they
Hmm.
could get you closer into where you're trying to get to, and I don't know if that's how it lines up, where it could be possible, but
Hmm.
it could be worth exploring. If
Yeah,
they
and what I'll say too is like I just noticed a comment, and this guy's correct. I think it was up at McConkey Ranch is where Carl the Crusher actually went. Um,
Oh,
but
was it not even on? Was that
I
not
don't think
on?
so. I don't think
Oh,
so. So and
sorry.
Carl, he's a good friend. I know he's been doing a lot of work at Mount Wilson Ranch down in Nevada, and I
Yeah,
know they
Mount Wilson. Yeah.
cool stuff. They found some pretty cool stuff this last year. He told me so. Um, and I've been trying to get down there, but it just hasn't worked out just yet. To go do some work with Carl on that. But what I can say is the basin as a whole, there are a lot of underground water systems that we do know about. So, and we do know something like that is underneath the ranch.
Yeah.
But to say that there's like caves or something that like what people are thinking of, I'm sure in their mind is like something that we can go walking down. I know we've got a lot of stories of people that walk into these caves and they can go for hours and hours, right? And they're just walking down these tunnels. We haven't found anything like that. We have found some pockets, if you will, in some of our exercises, but nothing that we've been able to really get into like that.
Got
Um,
it. That
there
makes sense.
have been, there are some things I would say we have some good leads at this point, but you're going to see some of that process of and what we're trying to do with some of that. But I can
And
tell you in some of the surrounding area, I have been in caves that are in the basin. And again, this isn't just obviously the Skinwalker Ranch is the big focal point, but again, like
but
if
it's the
anybody,
basin in general.
yeah, the basin in general has a lot of stuff going on. Um, I've been on multiple hikes and multiple treks, or if you will, and exploratory hikes with some good friends. Like Tom, I've gone up with Tom
Yeah, you're gonna
multiple
bring me on one, right? When I
times,
go out
right?
there, and you're gonna bring me on the
Yeah, if you
ranch,
ever
and
make it out here.
I'll fly out fucking tomorrow.
um, this week will be a little bit hard. I'm kind of being stay-at-home dad this week, so
I know you actually told me that. It's so
yeah,
cute, man. I'm so glad for you. Yeah, I'm so glad things are working out for you. Um,
yeah.
so I think there's actually this big. It just dawned on me. Um, did Awakening get canceled?
Yeah, so I just found out myself on
That
Friday.
sucks.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. It's not a terrible April Fool's joke like some people are thinking.
Yeah.
From my understanding, and I don't know other from some secondhand information at this point is that there was some IP issues that came up, and
Oh,
they're trying to work on getting some of that resolved. From some of
okay.
the information I've been given,
So,
um, so there's still a possibility that it'll come up. So I'm not sure though.
well, yeah, I
Um,
saw because I saw that, and it was like literally like the headline was, "Hey, this is not an April Fool's joke. Like,
yeah,
please don't misinterpret." Like,
yeah.
you know, because
So
a lot of my friends in the UK were
mhm.
were were really excited.
Yeah, so I'm sure like when I'm gonna speak with Tom again sometime this week. And we're always thinking what can we do and so I'm sure with some of the success that they had because Tom and Travis and Eric and Bryant they went on some like a mini tour last November in some American cities and
Mm,
they had a lot of success there. So I'm I'd love we've all talked about that. We'd love to be able to go over and see the fans in the UK or Australia because we know we have a huge following over there. And
absolutely do.
um, we've had people I've personally spoken to people at the front gate from Australia
Yeah,
and from other countries because of what they're seeing on the show and people are spending all this money to come and see us and I'm like I think it's a disservice to those people and the fans over in these other countries that if we were able to get over and try to do some events for them, if we don't do it,
it's
So
it's a thing that, like even I'd say every UFO podcast, um, at least every good one,
mhm,
the top 3 or 4 countries are always United States, the UK, Australia, and Canada.
mhm,
They're always there. So, you know, North America, yeah, it's always number 1,
mhm.
in ratings and all like that, but, these other countries have huge markets for it too, and you guys are just as big around the world. I mean,
Oh yeah,
so you guys are history's number 1 show, right?
Yes, I believe we're number one now. I have been for a couple years, I think. I know that for a year or two, we were kind of bouncing or kind of trading places with
Oak
um,
Island, was it, or
Oak
something?
Island. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're it now. We're the biggest show that they have right now.
And
I know I know we're big in like Brazil and South America. We had a couple of people during Phenomicon come up that were from South America, and they were all telling us everybody goes nuts for it down there too. Like everybody's talking about it down there, which I wish I knew Spanish. I'd go down there too, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Well, Phenomecon's another, that's one that I have on my list this year as a,
mhm,
um, as a won't miss opportunity.
yeah.
So I can't wait to, hear about that. And,
Oh
so
yeah, and
we
it's
you
gonna be so much fun because of all the stuff that's coming out in season 5.
Yeah, that's I'm super excited. Um, so you and I decided that we were gonna do a little segment, and
Mhm.
um, I was going to test you on your knowledge. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I would never do that to anybody. So
That's
we're gonna
fine.
watch the trailer for season 5, and then we're gonna kind of go through it and not shot for shot, but kind of
Mhm.
react to it. And so the interview. So, oh my god. The show
It's
airs
alright, you got COVID
April.
brain.
Yeah, I have COVID brain. The show airs April 23rd, episode
Yes.
1, right? So,
Yep.
um, everyone can gear up for that by rewatching either this interview or this trailer. So, can you hear it?
Yep.
We are on the cusp of discovering the secret of Skinwalker Ranch. The world is watching.
This season on the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch.
We need to flood Skinwalker Ranch
With instruments. Maybe we send 1.6 gigahertz at it. This is unlike any experiment we've done before.
Heads up, they're coming down.
Oh my God. Is there some invisible force causing this to happen?
What is inside the mesa?
Look at that. It's like jelly. I don't know what the hell that is.
The data shows the triangle could be a wormhole.
No way.
I don't think the public is ready for what you got.
Is the military letting us know we're being watched?
Do they know something we don't? What is that?
The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. New season premieres Tuesday, April 23rd at 10. Part of History's Strange and Unusual. Only on the History Channel.
All right. Oh wow. So
Yeah.
that is so first thing that registered was that a jumbo jet coming over the mesa, or was that
So
uh
that
I mean, that
that was
I could freeze frame that and zoom in, so, um, I'll find out no matter what. So if you don't wanna, if you can't say, it's okay.
no, so that was an clearly marked United States Air Force. C-17 is what I'm seeing in the comments. You know, it was new enough. It didn't have the turbine engines that I'm used to seeing on a lot of like C type cargo planes like that. It was jet engines on it, and it was very quiet. Um,
I Yeah, I mean, it obviously, you're over the editing team didn't
mhm,
overlay on it, and they probably muted all the clips, but,
yeah,
yeah, I didn't hear any propellers, or anything like that.
yeah. So
I'm really, really interested to see when that happens, because
yeah,
now we've gone from 2 kind of obscure but overt nighttime flyovers to
mhm.
now broad daylight.
Yeah. So you know, this is
That's
one of those things that we
escalation,
don't.
brother.
So um, I would say that there's definitely been some that are make the hair stand up on our necks a little bit. So like the one where last year or season 4 when we launched the rockets and we kind of map the blob, if you will, with the high speed cameras.
Yeah.
Um, and then we had the two Black Hawks or the Black Hawk come in, right? That that was definitely one of those nights that we were like, okay, what's going on? And when we got a little bit more information on it, it was basically we were told, don't ask about it. You're not going to get an answer. It's kind of like the answer that we got. These daylight ones, I think that's more guys having fun. Personally, I did this when I was in the military. When I rode in helicopters, once or twice. So I think the ones during the daytime are the ones that are guys going, "Hey, it's Skinwalker Ranch. Let's go fly." That's my personal thought on it. And because they're like, "Why not?"
And do you think do you think? I mean, I honest to God, I'd say there's a good chance some of them watch the show, so
Yo, yeah,
they know
definitely.
you're filming in the summertime.
Oh yeah.
So why not? But to come that low down,
Yeah, that's where I'm like, either I don't know if they can do that,
yeah,
in some of their aircraft,
because
unless
that
it's
was low.
yeah, and then that's where I'm like, that is one of those things, is that one very low. Um, I know that there's one thing that they do um, with some of those bigger jets at times. If they're looking at doing some kind of operation in an area, is they'll fly them in and they'll go low, and they know how short of a runway they need, and if it's relatively flat, they can do it.
Yeah,
And something like that, they don't care if there's fences or something like that. So it is one of those things. Like, it's not outside that realm of possibility. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of them are um, doing it because they enjoy the show too, and they're having fun. Um, and so it is one of those things, but we don't know for sure, and it's where we can go back through and we can track where they're coming from and things like that. So like Chinooks, though. So Chinooks, people need to understand Chinooks can be in the air for a long time. In fact, when you're in Afghanistan or Iraq, there were QRF teams, or reaction force teams, that they were in the air for hours and hours and hours waiting for a call. And those Chinooks can get anywhere, like that within a
right.
very short amount of time. And they have the fuel capacity to fly across the country. Um, but like your smaller aircraft, Blackhawks, Apaches, things like that, they don't have that dwell time. So, and I will say, to answer this question I saw up, there is a big training area in northern Utah and southern Idaho that is specifically for like special forces. There's a lot of places up there that they go and do training in, so we know that they could have come from there. And so it is one of those things. I can just give you the best idea based off my experience of having been when I was in the military at times, and then with the police and stuff. So
Right. I mean, I wonder, what the connection always is.
yeah,
I think, um, naturally, I always wonder, like, did Bigelow run into the same? And that's why it kind of is frustrating. He never shared any of the data.
yeah,
Not
oh
to
yeah,
throw,
beyond frustrating.
because, like, did he run into these same kind of issues where the military was, you know, pushing the
Yeah,
line, or,
I
I mean,
think I think in Bigelow's side, he was a little bit more tied into it.
I was gonna say he was more tied into it, but
Yeah,
other branches that didn't know what was going on because, he was, they were a special, no, were they? No, they didn't get special access
hmm
program status. So no, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, you could be right. You're right.
That's the thing too, is like people need to remember, like, at least this is how it should be with in regards to the military. They have specific areas that they are allowed to train in and do anything. Obviously, airspace is a little bit different, but actually boots on the ground, interacting with, say, private property and things like that. That's not just something they go out and just do whatever they want kind of thing. The military has
Especially,
specific areas that they are able to go and actually do things in. So, like, for example, I was on tanks. There's only like 4 or 5 areas in the country where we're allowed to shoot our main guns. You know, just because of the range and the power that some of these projectiles are going. So, like, theoretical, if you have a M1A1 at max elevation with the Sabo round in, that thing's going like 20, 30 miles. And they literally stop training and will put a little piece of equipment in that gun barrel and do the math, and they go find that round.
My God.
But again, that's where there's only certain areas where they're cleared to shoot that kind of ordnance. There's only like 2 or 3 ranges, to my knowledge, where actual like bombers can actually do their entire payload kind of thing. Like there's certain areas that they're allowed to do that. Why? Because of the chance of an errant round going somewhere it's not supposed to, So
Right. Yeah, it's just and that jelly the jelly like stuff that Dragon pulls out
yeah.
of the stuff. So that it looks like uh you guys find it in a similar way that you found that black material
Yep.
in the
With
mesa.
a sieve and water and pumping that out and going through the spoils. That's how we found it.
Yeah.
And
So
this is what is cool is it's not what everybody was. I'll say is it's not what everybody was hoping, but it does give us the information that is there is still going. Okay, why and
right.
what and how, especially with how far in we were.
Right.
So it only adds to the mystery of what's going on still. But I'm
Adding.
excited for when we can actually go in, and then when people see what we're doing in regards to that. We're obviously going to have plans to expand on that this year. So
Yeah, and I gotta ask you a personal question. Do you
yeah,
think that this so Travis Travis is quoted a lot as saying that the triangle is some sort of uh what do you call
like
wormhole?
like a wormhole. Yeah,
Yeah. Now people like you know the people I'm talking about. That,
yeah.
uh, like, freak out because he says it, that it's even like, that if it's even remotely possible, that even could have a standing chance, as being the answer. So in this, he said it multiple seasons. He said it in multiple seasons. This season, is there anything that like that actually definitively would point us that way, or is because the other couple times it's been mentioned, I would even say that it was kind of a eh, it was,
So
like when the chalkboard moment when he pulls it off the chalkboard
yeah,
when he switches the chalkboard.
in the first season, yeah,
Yeah, I was like, all right.
yeah.
Made for TV? Maybe. I don't know. But let's not
So
jump ahead.
yeah, so um, I will just say,
Travis is a character. I get it.
yeah, I love Travis. One of my
I
favorite
get
people.
it.
Um, So I will say this in regards to the triangle and multiple things or multiple experiments that we had this during season 5 and what you're going to see. Um, it's going to again. This is one of those things where it's so hard to wrap my head around. Um, but I think that you're going to be surprised when you think about that question. Um, here, and this is coming from multiple experiments, um, and multiple results from multiple sources, and yeah, and actually one of those, one of the crazy results we get, you actually see a part of that in the trailer with the drones, and you see it right there. Shit
The
ton of them
falling
fell
out
out.
of the sky.
Yeah. And
They've
so
never
there's
done
gonna
that
be
before.
no, no, well, Not at these numbers.
No, not at the like. That's honestly that's what I've always been waiting for.
Yeah, that's what everybody's, and that's so when you see a bunch of the information and when we really get a deep dive into that night, it'll freak people out. Just because of the implications and um technology wise, the information that's gonna come out in regards to which drones fell out of the sky and why. And again, this comes back to something we've talked to about before in regards to the GPS systems and the other systems that our entire world runs off of, you know. And so there's going to be some stuff there that again is pretty creepy and dang right fascinating. And then some of the information that you see in regards to a bunch of the tests and other information in regards to like we had Pete Kelsey come out again with a bunch of equipment. A lot of this technology that's been out on the ranch before and the results that we got on that side. It's I'm dying. I'm dying to be able to tell people and really have that discussion
That's all right.
anymore. So, but yeah, and you see it right there. That night was crazy. I'm surprised that they actually showed that one right now, just because they were like, they've been wanting to sit on that one, and
People
if that
ducking
one's
it,
not like
like you see, I think it was you see Eric like kind of duck down, like they're about to fall out of the sky onto him.
yeah.
So that was,
So
yeah, that's
so
pretty
that
alarming.
video right there with Tom where he's down,
Oh, it's
he's underneath
Tom.
the tent. Yeah, so that was Tom with Preston and a couple of the other um, drone guys. One of the drones went down underneath the tent there and was like flying around
And
almost
those
like
things are, make no mistake, people. Those things, those are industrial drones, right?
Yeah, so these things are anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds.
Yeah, these things
And,
are.
and yeah, so there was a reason why Tom was ducking and like
Yeah, if
that
it
whole night.
clips you, it's going to hurt.
Oh yeah, those the fin or the
Propellers,
prop
yeah.
on 'em, yeah, the propellers, they'll cut you up pretty good. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was that if we told him if that's not a 2 episode thing, because
Right, right.
there's so much going on. Yeah.
And then I think that's another thing is we always address when we talk is they you guys film. You guys film an entire summer's worth of um content, and the
Yep.
content is then handed to an editing team. You don't really have a say in what gets put out or the
Nope.
way it's structured. And
Yeah.
that, so you when it comes out, the final product is even a surprise to you.
Yeah.
And that's how it is
So
for a lot of people, a lot of shows. It's not something new in Hollywood, but it is, for some people, I guess that's why becoming an insider would be their best bet.
mhm. Yeah, so we do obviously have a lot more discussions as a team live with a bunch of our insiders, and there's a bunch of them on here right now, and they'll tell you this is it, and I know we're going through and actually doing some updates to the website right now, and so there's going to be some new changes coming out, and I know this is some new information at this point. So I don't know how much I can really talk about it yet, but I know we are doing some updates. We are going to be doing some new stuff with the website itself. But the idea has always been where we can have more of a interaction with people who are interested in the science. And we're looking at trying how can we improve that and be able to get more information out that way, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it's just all this stuff that's been going on out here and in regards to how that works with our production company and how they show things and what they show. I know that they're in more contact with Eric and Travis because they do want to make sure that they present how we're doing the science correctly, and so they do listen to Eric and Travis in that regard. And there's things that you know, you're hitting it on the head. There's times where um, they're going through and editing the episodes, right, and they try to go through and talk to Eric and Travis and incorporate what they're talking about. And I know they do send Eric and Travis some stuff to review. So and Eric and Travis then give them feedback. So I don't know how far that goes, or
Well,
you
there's
know.
also the other things that Travis has to do after you guys wrap on whatever production you do
Mhm.
on site, because Travis is always like narrating certain things that he wouldn't be able to unless it was after the fact. So
Oh
unless
yeah.
they're
So
so
yeah.
they probably bring him in multiple times for multiple different things.
And there's
There's
the
a
thing,
yeah.
and in that process, like Travis, it's not like he's watching in reference to what that is. He's in a, from my understanding, he's in like a sound studio recording,
Yeah. Yeah.
or he's being interviewed and like kind of going through that,
Mhm.
and he's just, you know, he's reading basically the narration of it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like having a chapter of a book and trying to read the book or
yeah,
understand the book. So,
yeah,
again, it's only one piece of information. So,
yeah,
and that's how they keep it. Hollywood is just as I hate to say it, Hollywood is just as compartmentalized as the UFO topic in general.
oh yeah,
So,
yeah,
don't get it twisted. But
no,
some of the so would you say this year was a little more would you say it went up or down in terms of paranormal and otherworldly activity?
definitely up, I guess, definitely a lot
Yeah.
more.
Up.
Um, yeah, um, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I
I'm
said,
kind of
there's
glad it was over.
right. Like I said, kind of in our private conversation earlier, I'm still trying to wrap my head around some of this stuff, um, and just because of the implications of what it is.
5 years
Yeah,
in and you're
yeah.
still and something just happened to make you feel this way. See,
Oh yeah.
that's the enigma of this of this ranch, in this hotspot, in this place, in this phenomenon, uh, is even when you think you've scratched the surface, you don't know anything, right?
No.
And it likes to remind you. Uh,
Yeah.
and you know, I know that you have used to have you were very big into your or still are into your faith, right?
Oh yeah.
So, how is been how is doing the show either changed, altered, or uh, facilitated and uh, continued your faith?
Well, I haven't seen anything that I would say changed it in like a negative way. It just really makes me, I guess, that much more um, marvel at like the power, if that makes sense.
Right.
That um, that like a supreme being could really have, and that's where it's like you're. I'm thinking of another thing, and I've kind of alluded this on some of, and we've alluded to this as a team on with a bunch of the insiders, as we pulled something out of the river this year, um, and if it's yeah, there's a river on the ranch that a lot
Th-
that we've never done anything with, so
There's a
um,
fucking river.
yeah, so it's not like as crazy as everybody would think, like big wise, but it's still a river. But um,
I guess that is 512 acres. Yeah.
yeah, so it bisects it, you know, and we've talked about it, but it's like we've never shown it, so it's outside of people's like recognition. I
Yeah,
think
it's just not
we're
one of those
outside of
spots you
yeah,
picture in your head.
yeah. And
All right.
so, but we pulled something out of the river, and it's as physical as you get pulling something out, right? Um, and the subject matter expert, the way that he goes through and shows what this is or potentially what this is, and the whole presentation that he did for us, if they don't do it correctly, I could see how people will be trying to discount it. But when he lines these samples up next to each to modern samples and things like that, um, I don't know how. I don't know how.
What
And
the
it
hell did you what
out,
what
outside
Plum
of
Island creature did you pull out of the goddamn
out,
river?
right outside of some of the other topics that we've been talking about in regards to time anomalies and like wormholes and stuff. Like that is the only explanation in my mind that, well, yeah, when you guys see it, I know it's gonna be I've been told that it's gonna be
It's gonna
pretty
be controversial.
oh yeah, definitely it's gonna be controversial, but when you have the physical sample and the subject matter expert there and showing his stuff, and this isn't the only thing he's found on the ranch, the subject matter expert that we've had. He's found multiple things, and his realm, I'll say, is biology, and that realm, and the other samples that we found, and the other things that he's brought to the table, and the other samples that we've collected over the years, he knows his stuff. There's no arguing it. And when he's coming to the table during this presentation and showing what this potentially is, he's going, I don't even want to say what this is because of how crazy sounds.
Really?
Yeah, and I know that's going to be somewhat early in the season, um, so I'm excited for that one. And yeah,
Yeah, you got me kind of, and
yeah,
you got me kind of hooked here on this thing here because I not, it just blows my mind because I didn't even know there was a river,
right. See,
and
and
now
that's where
you're
it's like,
pulling things out of it.
well, this is the crazy thing is, yeah, I've crossed that river multiple times. We've never done anything like an experiment on the river,
Okay, so
and the
what
way we
prompted
get
it?
down there and why we go down there, this is literally the first day we've ever gone down and done an experiment on this place, and this is the kind of thing we pull out. Like
Okay,
they,
so are you allowed to say what prompted you to go down there?
it was just kind of one of those things where we were like, we didn't want to do what they had planned for us that day, and it was because it was kind of more of the same kind of thing, and we're like, all right, we got to figure out something else. And Brandon
Like,
or
let's go
Bryant
shoot
and Trav,
rockets from the mesa. No, we do that every episode.
right? Yeah, that kind of thing. And Bryant and Travis were sitting there that night before going, we have got to do something else. And they were like, oh, we've never done anything on the river. Let's try and go down the river and do something there. And we're like, all right, great. And we all looked, we're like, yes, thank you. Something. And it was, middle of the summer, it's hot. And we're like, yes, we'll go play in the river all day. So,
Wow.
but, but that's the
There it
thing is like,
is.
yeah, that what we pull out of the river, and then the next day, oh my gosh, like what we have to talk about the next day too, because when we can,
Yeah.
I know it.
I can't wait to talk about all of it, man. I just that's what I love about this show is and what I wanted to ask too was you guys do have the spin-off show now.
Hmm.
Are you incorporating any of the data or research? Are you I guess you won't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
you wouldn't know because you don't know
I'm
what they're
not
gonna edit into it.
I'm not
But
involved in that in really in any way at this point. So I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know how
you do you
they're.
like the show? Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it. No.
Oh, dude, it's not Caleb. It's actually it's super super good.
And
Um,
it's sort of like I've talked to Pete, and I know they have. Oh gosh, Carl had a
Yeah.
um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, what is
So I've talked to some of the other parties that have been involved with it, and they've told me what's been going on. And am I surprised? No, I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
surprised.
it's wild because so they did an episode in at the Bridgewater Triangle, and that's where I'm ending my movie. The first
Hmm.
I'm right now I'm making my first movie, so and it connects a haunted road to
Hmm.
the Salem witch trials to the Bridgewater Triangle. So the, it's what I like about it is showing that there is precedent, not just precedence for these hotspots
Yeah.
to exist, but there are many of them that are just here homegrown, right?
Hmm.
And is it something about the land? Is it something what makes these places such why is the veil so thin there?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's the question we all want to ask or answer with shows like Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, all those, right? Is why? What's going on? What's really the truth here? And
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, do you guys ever um, wonder if you're part of the just a just such a remarkably bigger chessboard that you had no idea about?
Um. Yeah. I guess it's one of those things we don't know how what the implications really are until you do something right, and those consequences come. Um, but we've with some of the stuff that we've been waiting to talk about, or like what we're going to be showing in season 5, and when you go back to season 4 and see some of the stuff that we're showing, and um, like I can tell you, for instance, Eric is going through and creating this crazy model in regards to the in and out recording that we have, where we're on the helicopter and you see this light off in the distance, this UAP come down, and it looks like it goes into the mesa, and then as the helicopter's continuing east, that
That's when
light.
it comes out. That's a wild,
Yeah.
wild.
So Eric, this is one of those things where, like, this is crazy. We're 98%, we're fairly certain we caught a UAP coming in and out of the mesa, right? But again, this is where Eric on the backside, I can tell you, for the last couple months, he's been doing a huge model in, like, Blender, and writing code and doing all this cool stuff to really test that, because there's obvious questions. Now, and this is again one that there's so much information that we can talk about, in regards to just one of these experiments. So one of the questions is, okay, was there a rocket still in the air by chance? And as it's coming down to the Earth, was it glinting? Is that the light that we're seeing? Right now, I can tell you, as I was on the helicopter, one of our safety things with Cameron was he wasn't going to fly through the area if we knew there was a rocket still in the air. So, and I talked to Cameron just a couple weeks ago about that same question, as it was one of those things where I was like, all right, this happened so long ago, let's confirm. And I was like, hey, Cameron, when it comes in regards to this is our safety procedure, right? Anytime you're out and we shoot a rocket off, you don't fly through the area until we know the rocket's on the ground, correct? And he's like, yeah, simple. That's what we do every time. I'm like, okay, cool. And now we take that to Eric, and Eric is like, okay, so what else could this potentially be outside of, like, a UAP type source? And that's why he's creating this huge model to try and show the potential speed and size of what this was, right? And how big that would be as we're flying through. And he was out taking pictures of the helicopter to make sure the details on the helicopter and the model were correct. So that's the kind of detail he's putting into this thing. And just the amount of work he's doing on it is phenomenal. And that's again the backside stuff that happens during the off season that people don't see, is the amount of work that, like, Eric particularly puts back into a lot of these experiments. And then as we talk about it and evolve that conversation for the next year of, okay, what can we do to maybe either build on this or retest it, you know?
Right.
And so that's kind of where we're at for this for season 6 is we're having those conversations of, okay, what can we do? And based on what we found here, how can we verify it or how do we test that again? But then that's also so hard. The hard part of this is we feel that some of these results that we get are so are that one crazy one off. Like, are we ever going? How can we replicate what happened? So,
Well, you can keep talking. I was just
oh,
gonna
yeah,
play because this is. I wanted to see this one in the background. What is this
yeah.
blank? I don't remember the
So I
blank.
don't know if this is the one,
Is this
but
the
yeah,
right
it's
one?
it's just one of those things. Like, there's so much follow up and so many follow up experiments and things that we can go deep dive into, right? Um, and Eric, I actually went back through my phone
Oh yeah, it's right here.
and yep, and found all this and found a bunch of other videos and photographs that I took while I was on the helicopter during this and gave them to Eric to help him really dial down on the times and where the helicopter was at in space and in relation to this. So because in between some of these rocket launches that we were doing this night, I took a bunch of photographs and videos and stuff, and like what really struck me that on this night was how clear it was. Uh,
Right.
there was a point where we were just hovering above the ranch, and Cameron was kind of doing a slow turn, and I had my phone out, and I was just recording like the horizon, just because I could see so far, and you could clearly see why we're in the Uinta Basin is a basin. Like, you could see the mountains all the way around us, and it was just so clear. Like, and obviously my video can't capture that, like our eyes can, but
I know it sucks. It
yeah, so
sucks.
it was kind of one of those things where, again, I went back through and I found some videos and things that I think are going to help Eric in this. So this is just
That's awesome.
just an example. So and and now we've got a whole nother season that we're going to be able to do this for, because again,
Yeah.
like,
So
there's
you're renewed for 6.
I don't know for sure yet, but
So I would
everything's
assume.
pointing towards it. Yeah,
I would assume that unless the ratings were to take a just like a tremendous dive, which I
yeah,
don't foresee,
oh yeah,
then um then you'd be that's the only case. And even then, I don't even know if they would cancel it. So
yeah.
just because. But it's I honestly I can't wait for this season. I think a lot of things are starting to culminate. I think,
Hmm.
a lot of the lessons learned in Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, they were able to take to beyond Skinwalker Ranch and kind of, some of the mistakes that you got, not that you guys made mistakes in the series,
Sure, we
but
make.
well, yeah, there were things that were done that now, the guys from the other show, they knew not to do, so they kind of skipped right to to poking the bear instead
Yeah,
of, figuring out how to poke the bear.
yeah.
You guys figured out how to poke it.
And
Now,
I know in that one it's they have a lot of contact with Eric and Travis in regards to doing that stuff. So
yeah,
I know that Eric and Travis have had a big part of that, but I don't know how involved they are in the experiments and stuff myself. I don't know.
yeah, I don't
So
think they're too involved in the experiments. It
yeah,
seems like they're just in it to so it really if I'm being honest, it seems like they're in it just to tie the shows together because it's
yeah,
it's more of like a recap. They're in it, they're at the end of every show at the recap, and I
yeah,
think no offense, obviously it's something you have to do. Like you
yeah,
have to do it. It's a
yeah.
sister show.
They're obviously building off of everything that we're doing.
Yeah,
So
but
and that
I think it's great. I think it's absolutely tremendous because I think, you know, one of the cool things that we get to see play out is the advancement that you guys make, the longer you're at Skinwalker Ranch, the more advanced studies that can be done at these other hotspots on now just on a dime because of you guys. So,
Oh, yeah.
you're still paving the way. The main show will always be the main show. But what you're doing now is inspiring,
Yep.
and allowing other endeavors to happen on, at other places that are rumored to be very similar in nature to Skinwalker Ranch.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's so much potential for advancement in this realm, if you will. And what's really driving that too, or what's helping that is there's these technologies that are out there that we're using, not, and yeah, they're not exactly for the purpose that they're meant for, if you will, but the results that they're getting, and whether that's equipment malfunctions and the equipment's performing in ways that it was never meant to, or it is catching um, actual data in a way that it shouldn't be catching that data, right? Or we never would have caught that kind of data had we not had that type of equipment, right? And again, it's so, like, for example, let's take Pete's equipment. We've seen in the past his slam scanners and things are, how do you make a laser disappear? Or like when the way his slam scanner works, and this type of equipment is, it literally shoots a laser out, it hits a physical object, and in the time that that returns back helps determine like how far away or what it's made of, how reflective it is. um, and we literally have stuff that's swallowing this energy. But when you go stand where we're standing, it's a freaking field. And how does that, how everywhere else you go, that equipment runs the way it's supposed to and shows you that it's a field, or that you're hitting the ground and the foliage and it's coming back to you. I've been out with Pete and done, I don't know how many scans off season and in past seasons, and we have tons of scans of the ranch, and they've come back fine. But then there's these other times where we're doing experiments, and where the heck's that energy going? Where the heck's that laser going?
It's like a black hole,
Right,
right?
exactly.
It's like, and you know what? Maybe there is more than meets the eye than the possibilities of what could be there. Because what could swallow a laser like that?
Well, and that's, and that's the thing, is like, there again, season 5, you're going to see some results from, top of the line equipment that Pete's getting coming out, and we're going, what the heck? Like, we're still getting stuff that's surprising.
So more GPR, more LiDAR. Is it sounds like you're running the full gambit again.
Oh yeah, we've got, again, that's where we're going. We're finding stuff with this equipment that, when we go out and we talk with other parties who've been using this technology for 20 plus years, like Pete, and he's going, have you ever seen this before in any of your equipment? And they're all going, no, what are you doing?
Right.
It's,
or where yeah.
yeah, where are you doing this stuff? And now I think
where
we
is
all
this
know
coming from? Because
yeah,
this does not look right.
yep. And so that's what's been really fun, is seeing again the third party experts coming out even today, and the equipment that they're willing to bring, or the updated equipment from a past model, so it's even better than what we've used before, right? And the stuff still gets us these crazy results. And I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah. And that's one of the questions that has always, since day one, it's been intriguing me. Why is, like, there's been so many experiments where, like, things will go underground. Like, it looks like you flew underground, came back up, and then, into the mesa, And like that's happened like on multiple occasions with multiple different types of sensors. And it's
Yes.
like it's always bothered me because it's like it's repeating but on different
Yeah.
device, different
Yeah.
um
Different equipment.
different
We're
equipment.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting a lot of the same results, right? So, like I noticed a comment about um, I want to say during Blazing Bear, we had what looks like in some infrared, some two objects come down and fly into the mesa, right? Well, where the mesa edge is, it looks like they either went behind it or they did go inside. But and so there's some very similar results that we've caught on multiple equipment of what looks like stuff coming in and out of the mesa, right? But I think that's why that footage of the helicopter on that night where we're shooting the two rockets that we just looked at was so profound was because it's really hard to argue that one.
Yeah,
It,
you see it go and then just like if you were to track it,
mm-hmm.
like if you were to draw a track, it would make sense where it came out. If it
Yes.
was, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it would probably line up if you did it mathematically
And
somehow. Yeah.
and again, that's why Eric is going through and creating this model that he's been working on to try and show that. Yeah.
Oh, to prove that it
So maybe I
is
wasn't explaining it.
moving. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I
So and
see what he's doing.
yeah, so Eric is going through and really, working on that, and there's other things like that that he's going through, and that's the thing too is, I think Travis is the one that brought this up in one of our live discussions with somebody before. I want to say like NASA before if they do like an experiment, they have to sit for 2 years and keep working that one single experiment before they can ever come out with any kind of information, if I remember correctly. And what you're seeing with us is we do a whole gambit of experiments over a couple months, and in 8 to 9 months, you guys are seeing what we caught live,
Mm,
and then we're going, how do we like what does that information even mean first off?
right.
How do we even interpret it?
Yeah. But you
Um,
allow them to interpret. Here,
yeah,
judge it. Put it
yeah,
out
and
to the
then
world
we're
for
throwing it out to the public and going, hey, this is what we caught, and we try to go back and do as much review on those on the data and the recordings as much as we can, but and that's where again with the partnership with the filming and stuff, sometimes that's hard, like we're not able to do that, and then when stuff gets released, people start deep diving it and doing what they can themselves, and that raises a lot of questions, and we're like, and we're still trying to answer like the first questions, so
right.
and that, it's just it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
We know but we are getting a lot of crazy hard data, like the terabytes of information that's been stored just in the recordings themselves, because a lot of video evidence, on top of like each one of these lidar scans is hundreds and hundreds of megabytes of information, and the bigger your scans are
I would say
huge.
terabytes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really hundreds of terabytes of information from the last 6 years, and it's like, and that's what's really fascinating is if someone ever gets the opportunity to like sit down and and ever gets full access to everything, and they literally start from like day one, from like our what we've talked about as team members ourselves from before the show, and starts compiling all that information, and might forget Bigelow's stuff. If we start from just our day one, if you will, and go from
Right.
there to where we are now, that's how many years would that take to compile everything?
Yeah, well, a good paper to read. Like something that was or not a good paper, but like like a proper compilation of just the data set in
Yeah.
a searchable way, like that would actually be really cool
Yeah.
to
So.
see how things progressed and
Mhm.
where it progressed, what happened when. That would be actually pretty cool.
See, and I guess in my mind, that's where I'm like, I'm gonna try and do what I can to maybe help in that with this book that I'm trying to do and that I've been working on for this. I really started working on it. Got my daughter. Okay. Okay. Just give me a couple more minutes, sis.
Yeah, we can wrap up in a couple minutes. I don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't want to take you from your daughter too much,
No,
but
you're fine.
so it does look like we're shaping up to.
Mhm.
It looks like it's shaping up to be quite the roller coaster year. Last year I said the same thing. Having you on in lieu or in preparation for the show. I'm super
Mhm.
excited. So where can people find you, and where can people get involved with Skinwalker Ranch? How can they watch the cameras all day? Uh, you know,
Yeah. So.
what other paranormal hotspot lets you do that? So.
Right. So obviously we have our skinwalker-ranch.com website. Go be an insider. We have a lot of discussions. Like I said, we've got some really cool changes coming up to the website itself. I'm actually haven't seen what it's going to be yet myself, so I've got some meetings that I'm going to be having with the new team that we're working with on what that looks like. I know that like in past seasons and past years, what we've been doing is whenever a new episode comes out, we as a team will sit and talk and take questions live from the insiders there. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, Kaleb Bench.
Yeah, it's
I,
pretty hard to find it
yeah,
out.
right. I need to be more active in posting stuff, but that's also where we're like, okay, what can we talk about? When can we talk about stuff? But yeah, that's where I'm at. And then, but I would say our website is one of our big places to go to get any additional information, or when one of us jumps on and uh, does an interview like this, we go into detail on some things, and we try to give more information as we can.
Now,
Um,
you guys, you know what? Honestly, with the exception of John Alexander, you
mhm.
guys have been the most forthcoming with, and that's what bothers me when people attack Brandon and like people like Green Street. They do what they do is um and because what I mean, no one's beating down Bigelow's door saying, where's all the data from
Yep.
when you were at Skim. You guys let people watch cameras on the property
Yep.
24/7. You
Yep.
can literally pay what is it? $6,
It's
$10?
like $8 to $10 depending on
Yeah.
the
To
member.
to do all those live streams, to get all those benefits, and you
Yep.
can literally sit and watch all the cameras that they have, and you
And
only have more and more because Eric is like me, he just can't stop.
oh,
Um,
I I could tell you we have yeah, the amount of cameras that Eric has is ridiculous, and we're only getting more.
I
Um,
know. I love
and
that guy.
we're kind of getting to the point now where some of the older cameras, we have to get new ones up to because the old ones are just worn out, you know.
Yeah.
So not only are we getting newer, better cameras now in some of those same locations, but we're getting more of them. And yeah,
Yes.
I can tell you there's some individuals on here that I've seen in the live chat that have caught things real time on our website and
Right.
bring it to attention like it's been such a I think net positive because of that and the insiders took it upon themselves and created like a spreadsheet and record all sorts of stuff that we can go back and check
Yeah,
because
and that just makes for good data keeping, and if something really does stick out, then you
yep
use that then you you bring it up in the series premiere of the whatever season, and
Yep,
say,
and
look what happened over this off season.
Yep.
Let's start it off here. Some of the stuff that we, the sky's the limit, and I mean that's up to Prometheus at the end of the day anyway. But this is Skinwalker Ranch, has nothing to do with Prometheus. So you guys you did this on your own,
Yeah.
and it will for now stay that way.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's completely us, the team, and that's where we're trying to think of ways to, again, improve that website, and trying to get the team together to do experiments on that as well is as part of the tricky thing too. And there's a lot of things that we'd like to do with it, but it's just
Hey, listen, I completely understand. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
When actually getting down to it, and getting everyone on board, and getting it's logistical nightmare. So you don't have to explain that one, buddy. Caleb,
just one of those things.
I always love having you here, and you're always
Yeah, man.
welcome. And then after, either during or after the season ends, we'll have to have you back in. But Phenomicon this year. Any other conventions that you guys are going to be doing that you'll be at?
Just Phenomicon, to my knowledge now, since Awakening got canceled, sadly.
Okay.
But
All right.
I
Well,
know there's potentially something else in the works, so
Okay.
I don't. But
Well, keep us
Phenomicon,
all updated, and we love what you do, and can't wait for April 29th, right?
23rd. So we've
20
only got a couple more weeks.
Yeah, April 23rd, couple more weeks, mid-April. All right, you heard it here, guys. Like, share, subscribe, and if you want to help support, become a member on YouTube. It really does help, and all the sharing and liking is free, and it really, again, it helps. So click join, click like, click share, click subscribe, click all the buttons there are. Click. I'm really, really clouded brain tonight. But thank you
You're
again,
fine.
Caleb, for
Well,
coming
thanks for
on.
having me on today.
Yeah, man, it was such a fun time. So we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, and yeah.
Have a
See
good
ya.
one, everybody.
End it for me, because I'm losing my mind.
Yep.